How should you choose a trustee for your living trust? That's the question that we're going to answer today for you in this video. Hi, my name's Edmund.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Cindy.
We're the attorneys here at Amity Law Group, and as a law firm, we're known for helping clients protect their families using estate planning tools like the living trust. Now, this is a very common question we get when clients come to us and we help them set up a living trust. They need to choose a trustee to manage their assets for them if something happens. And so they ask us, what's the criteria? How should we choose the trustees? So in this video, we're going to talk about just that to give you some insight and to help you make that decision.
Yeah, I think ultimately, it definitely has to be somebody that you trust, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it has to be somebody that you feel like once you jot down everything that you intend, how to distribute, who gets what, this person is going to be the one who will, make that happen. And so it has to be somebody that will get the job done, is trustworthy, that you can rely on them to perform these duties.
Yeah, so the underlying principle is, do you trust them?
Yes.
You want to just think about the people that you trust with your life, basically. Now, it doesn't have to be a person who is particularly good at math or particularly good at the law even. The most important thing is that you trust them. You trust that they're going to do what they need to do when the time comes.
And it could be your friends or your family members. Friends are sometimes better than family members because you might be closer to your friends and you trust them more. So it doesn't have to be family members. That's another question we get from our clients. And so see who you trust most and choose them. But one thing is, remember to let them know. There's a lot of times where clients don't tell the person that they've named as trustee that they're going to be trustee. That creates a problem when we administer the trust because the person might say, I don't want to do it. And if no one steps in, then that's a huge problem. So make sure you inform your trustees that they're going to be the trustee and get their consent. That's very important as well.
Yeah, and I think a lot of clients also ask, I may not have that many friends that I can trust. I don't have that big of a family here. My family are overseas. Can I name, somebody who may not live in the U.S. as a trustee? And that's perfectly fine. They can be foreigners. They can reside outside of the U.S. Logistically, it might just be a little bit more, things that they have to do to maybe fly here and get things signed and whatnot. But it is possible for them to be a trustee if they're foreigners. And a lot of, a lot of it is that we do have foreign trustees. They'll contact us and say, hey, this individual passed away. Now I'm acting in the capacity of a trustee, but I need help. And so that's when we step in and we also help the trustee, basically administer the trust and make sure that, all the notices are sent out, whoever the beneficiaries are, help them with the final accounting of every asset that was in the trust and help them administer it. So it is possible, if the only person that you trust doesn't live in the U.S., that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. So I think a good trustee versus a bad trustee, a good one is someone who has the time. They may not, again, they don't have to be super smart or good with math or know anything about the law, but they have the time. That means that they're going to go to an attorney, they're going to seek help, professional help regarding the distribution of the assets, and they're going to make time for it. They're going to send notifications to the beneficiaries. They are going to treat it as an important job because they know that you have made wishes in your trust and you wish for someone to honor. And that is the person that is a good trustee, someone who has the time to do it.
And, keep in mind, your beneficiary can be a trustee as well. So that's a motivating factor, right? They want to inherit the assets, and so they'll take the time and they'll make sure that it's done. And so a lot of times we do have clients where they'll just name their adult children who are also beneficiaries to be the trustees. So that's perfectly fine as well. And then, the only thing that happens is if you have, two kids, you put both of them as joint trustees or individual trustees. We have this conversation a lot. And so I think from my standpoint, it's easier if you have one individual trustee, right? So this person is in charge of making sure things are distributed. You can have two joint trustees, but make sure that they don't have any disputes. So they have to agree. So let's say, for instance, maybe a possible scenario is you left a real property, a house, right, to your two children, and they're both joint trustees. One person wants to sell the house and split up the money. The other person wants to hold on to the house and not sell. So who gets to decide? So that's a potential conflict there. And if they still somehow cannot agree, then the court will have to decide, which is kind of the whole purpose of us doing the living trust, to avoid the whole court process. So that's something to think about. Every family is a little bit different. So if you do want your kids to, be trustees, maybe you can, within the trust language, say, no selling of the house. It's only distributed by title. Yeah. But then there's also limitations with that as well. So just certain things to consider. But, kids, adult children, they can be trustees and beneficiaries at the same time.
Definitely. So if you don't want, or if you anticipate certain disputes, make sure you make those decisions in the trust so that you can avoid those disputes. A lot of times clients will ask me, well, maybe I need to find a trustee who's younger than me. So that's logical, thinking that you could maybe place somebody in there that's younger than you that has a higher chance of outliving you. But it may not always be the case where you trust people who are younger than you. So, for example, I'm actually the youngest in my family, so I don't really have anyone who's younger than me. So my trustees are going to be older than me, and I actually chose, my father-in-law to be the trustee of my trust because I know that he's good with paper. He loves to file away paper and keep documents and keep records. And I also know, he's got time. He's retired now. He's kind of living the retirement life and is still very involved with our life. So he knows what we're like and what we like, what we don't like, and what we would want.
Yeah.
And you can always change your trustee as long as you're alive and mentally sound to do so. So you can need someone older, and if they pass away, then update your living trust by adding a new one. So it's never set in stone. If you want to change your mind, you can do that.
Yeah, and then within your living trust, you can have the first trustee, second trustee in case the first trustee passes before you. So you have a backup. Yeah.
All right. I hope you guys have all the answers you need to make a decision as to who you should appoint as trustee. If you have any questions, if you need help with choosing a trustee and creating a living trust, give us a call. We offer free consultations, and our office is in Rosemead. So give us a call for the free consultation. Until the next video, thanks for watching and take care.